They told you that the riots were organic, that the chaos just happened, that it was just another peaceful protest gone a little bit too far, right? But what if I told you that they were paid for? What if I told you that there's actually a direct money trail connecting these fires in the streets of LA to the political elite sitting comfortably behind velvet ropes in Sacramento and globalist boardrooms overseas? Well, guys, this is exactly what has been uncovered. In fact, the mask just got ripped off. And the man behind it, George Soros. And who's enabling it all here in America's most broken state? None other than California Governor Gavin Newsom, who just got exposed for funneling cash and essentially cover for the very forces that are tearing this country apart from the inside out. Guys, here's the twist that they did not see coming. President Trump, he's back in charge. The Marines are on the ground. And Senator John Kerry just delivered a message that was so freaking savage. It has gone nuclear across the internet. His words: we're not negotiating with wolves, we're hunting them. So, of course, we're going to do a deep dive. We're going to show you the receipts, break down how George Soros' dark money infected California's leadership, reveal how George Soros' pipeline works, and show you the exact moment that John Kennedy carved right through the lies live on air, guys. Plus, of course, the secret arrest warrants. I don't know if you guys heard about this. There are some secret arrest warrants, the fake lawsuits from Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass, the LA mayor, and the internal polling that the Democrats are praying that you never see. Don't blink, guys, because by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly how deep the rock goes and why it's finally getting ripped out, root and all. So start with Gavin Newsom here, who didn't just accidentally destroy California. He actually funded and provided the money to pull this thing off. In fact, for more than a decade, Gavin Newsom's rise to power has been bankrolled by none other than George Soros. This is the same globalist billionaire whose fingerprints are on probably nearly every radical left-wing movement destabilizing America. According to public records, over $1 million in direct and PAC-linked donations have flowed from Soros-backed networks right into Gavin Newsom's war chest. And that's what's actually traceable. That doesn't include what we haven't figured out how to trace back yet. But it's not just campaign cash, guys. It's ideology. Soros' funded groups have pushed for equity reforms, decarceration incentives, and open border policies, all in California. And Gavin Newsom, he ate it right up. He let violent criminals walk free. He just cut law enforcement budgets. He even opened the floodgates to illegal immigration, all while pretending that he had no idea why the state was unraveling. But let me ask you guys, what happens when the man in charge of protecting your state is bought and paid for by the man who wants to dismantle it? Guys, that's not leadership. That's clearly sabotage. And this brings us to what I call the Soros pipeline. This is the real machine behind the madness, okay? So this isn't just about Gavin Newsom. This is a full-blown system, a pipeline, if you will, of dark money and radical ideology that funds district attorneys and nonprofits and bail funds and protest networks across California. Think about it, right? These riots didn't just erupt out of nowhere. Gas masks were being passed out from trucks. Legal defense teams were already prepped. Protesters were getting bailed out almost instantly. Guys, that's not a protest. That is clearly an operation. Groups tied to George Soros have poured millions of dollars into California's justice system, installing soft-on-crime DAs who essentially let violent criminals off with slaps on the wrist, even as innocent store owners get their lives shattered. It's not fair. From anti-ICE marches to full-on defund the police riots, the Soros pipeline has engineered chaos, using California as its test lab. And the worst part, guys, Gavin Newsom not only let it happen, he gave it cover too. And that's just the beginning, because I want to break down how these riots spiraled completely out of control while the Marines were called in, and how President Trump made the boldest move of his second term to save Los Angeles from total collapse. So what started off as, we'll just call them protests against ICE, right? They quickly morphed into 4 straight nights of violent chaos in Los Angeles. Guys, I'm talking about Molotov cocktails hurled at law enforcement, bricks dropped from overpasses, federal buildings getting defaced, and entire neighborhoods overrun. This was not random. This was deliberate, it was organized, and it was very strategic. A planned assault on law and order staged in America's second largest city. And while Californians were begging for help, Gavin Newsom and Mayor Karen Bass of Los Angeles, they tried to downplay it. They called it mostly peaceful while the streets burned behind the cameras. And yet, you and I saw exactly what was really happening. Americans across the country watched it unfold in real time. So in that very moment, one thing became very clear. No one in California was going to stop it. Not the governor, not the mayor, not George Soros-backed DAs. Nobody was going to stop it. There was only one person left who could. That isn't just theory, guys. This is real people dealing with real Medicare problems. Oh, and finally getting some real help. Nancy, age 78 years young, guys. She says, Chapter saved me $600 a year. My rent is $1,510 a month. This savings might let me stay in my home. Carolyn shared her story. She said, Chapter saved me from $4,000 in Medicare expenses. Guys, this is the kind of difference that matters, okay? Chapter is helping change lives in a very positive way. Give our friends at Chapter a call right now. Phone number is 909-563-8279 or visit askchapter.org/Ron. The help is totally free and the savings are real. So get this, President Donald J. Trump, now back in the White House, he said enough, guys. He has deployed 4,000 National Guard troops and ordered an additional 700 U.S. Marines to be sent straight to Los Angeles. No more excuses, no more press conferences, action. And Trump made it very clear. If I didn't send in the troops, Los Angeles would be burning to the ground right now. And he really wasn't wrong. What President Trump did was restore American authority where local leadership had surrendered it. So while Gavin Newsom and LA Mayor Karen Bass cowered behind lawsuits and press releases, Marines were securing the streets. And for the first time in days, the violence started to break. Protesters were being arrested, supply trucks were getting shut down, and law enforcement finally had the backup that they needed. But that did not stop the backlash from the left. Gavin Newsom called Trump a dictator. Karen Bass accused the mayor of using her city as a test case. But let me ask you this, guys. If that's true, what exactly were they testing, right? Like how long America would tolerate their failure? And that's not even the full story, because we need to dive into the lawsuits that Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass filed to stop Trump, while Senator John Kerry, he went scorched earth on national TV, guys, and how he delivered the most viral political moment of the year with one sentence. That's right, guys. Gavin Newsom and Mayor Karen Bass actually filed lawsuits against President Trump for sending in the National Guard Marines without their permission. So Gavin Newsom said Trump's move was unconstitutional. Karen Bass called it a power grab. And the media, of course, repeated every word. But here's what they did not say. The local law enforcement had been overrun, that the streets were literally on fire, that they never asked for help because they were more afraid of looking weak than protecting lives. Let that sink in, right? So while citizens are getting attacked, while police are being ambushed, and while America's second largest city looked like a war zone, Gavin Newsom was in court trying to block the Marines. And here's the real kicker. They lost. Not just in court, they lost the country. Because this time, even Democrats were starting to ask questions. And one Republican senator said exactly what millions of Americans were thinking. So enter Senator John Kennedy of Louisiana. This is the man who went scorched earth on national television and ignited a viral firestorm. His words, he said that the governor is a sheep in sheep's clothing. He thinks cops are a bigger problem than criminals. More sheep won't stop the wolf problem. We're stopping the wolves. And just like that, guys, it all made sense. The wolves are the violent radicals here. The anarchists, the rioters, okay? So we see the analogy here, right? So the wolves are the violent radicals. The anarchists, those are the rioters. The sheep, the spineless leaders who would rather lecture the public than protect them. So Senator John Kennedy, he called it what it is, a battle between law and chaos, courage and cowardice. And so in a moment that shook the political world, he declared, we're not asking the wolves to stop anymore. We're hunting them. So that clip alone has been shared millions of times, and for good reason, because Senator John Kerry didn't just speak the truth. He cut off the George Soros funded narrative right at the knees. Oh, and now that the American people are wide awake, the panic is spreading. Guys, we're going to dig into how Democrat leaders are losing control of their own base, how even John Fetterman is breaking ranks, and why calls for real accountability, even arrests, are growing by the day. Look, they dressed it up real nice, didn't they? They gave it a salary, benefits, a break room, and a badge. But let's call it what it really is. It's slavery with Wi-Fi, guys. I mean, we're not free if you can't leave. You're not successful if you don't control your own time. And you're not living if you're always asking for permission to rest, to travel, or just to be with your family. Guys, the Liberty Pursuit Network was built to destroy that lie and replace it with real ownership, real income, and real life. Guys, click the link in the pinned comment or in the description down below to join the Liberty Pursuit Network, escape the 9-to-5 grind, and get your freedom back today. Link in the description down below. Now, because while the media screamed overreaction and while Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass cried dictatorship, the footage told a completely different story. Police being attacked with bricks, with fireworks, stores getting ransacked in broad daylight, cars being flipped over and set ablaze in the middle of American streets. And yet, Democrat leaders stood there with straight faces and said, mostly peaceful. Folks, this wasn't just a lie. It was gaslighting on a national scale. Here's the twist that they didn't see coming. Even Democrats started pushing back. Senator John Fetterman, yes, that Fetterman, shocked his own party when he said this. He said, this is not free speech. This is anarchy and true chaos. My party loses the moral high ground when we refuse to condemn setting cars on fire, destroying buildings, and assaulting law enforcement. That's not a Republican talking point, guys. That is a desperate warning right from inside the Democratic camp, because even they know that the wolves have gotten out of control. And now it's clear that the calls for justice are getting louder, not just against the rioters, not just against the looters, but against the very elected officials and operatives who enable them. Border Czar Tom Homan, he made it very clear. The DOJ is watching, tracking, and preparing federal charges. Pam Bondi confirmed it too. Violent agitators are being identified. They're being raided and prosecuted. And this is only the beginning. I mean, Senator John Kennedy, Tom Homan, and even voices inside of Trump's inner circle have floated the idea that state officials, even including Gavin Newsom, could face legal scrutiny if they continue obstructing federal law enforcement or aid violent groups under the table. Now, if that sounds extreme, I want you to remember this. We're not talking about peaceful protests. We're talking about organized criminal activity with fatal consequences. Americans are done with lectures. They want consequences. And for the first time in a long time, it looks like they might actually be getting them. But of course, there's one more piece to this puzzle here, and it's rather big. Because really all of this is leading to something that nobody on the left expected, a nationwide backlash that is now not only shifting the public opinion, but it is completely realigning the political map. So in the last few years, there's been a massive shift in how Americans, especially immigrants, feel about law and order. Okay. Back in 2020, Democrats held a 32-point lead in the immigration among immigrant voters. But now in 2025, that lead is gone. Republicans now lead by 8 points on the issue, and that is a 40-point swing. Oh, and it doesn't stop there either. President Trump's approval among immigrant citizens has skyrocketed. Back in 2016, it was only 36%. But then in 2020, it improved to 39%. But get this, in 2024, 47%. In some polls, he's winning this group outright. Here is the dagger, though, right? Even legal immigrants have turned against illegal immigration. In 2020, legal immigrant citizens have a 23+ point favorable view of illegal immigrants. Okay. Now in 2024, that number flipped to -6 underwater. But that's not just a political shift, guys. That is a cultural rejection of the Soros Newsom agenda here. Americans and immigrants alike are done. They're done with the open borders. They're done with the sanctuary cities. They're done with the progressive prosecutors and their revolving door justice. Okay. And so now we return to the title of this video, because it wasn't just a headline. It's what's actually happening. Enough. The Soros pipeline, from globalist dollars to street level destruction, has finally been exposed. Gavin Newsom, publicly shamed, legally challenged, and politically drowning. The riots, crushed by Trump's military response. Senator John Kennedy, he took the mic and he essentially cut the sheep narrative right to shreds. And the American people were wide awake, no longer fooled, ready to fight back. This was not just about one city or one governor or one billionaire. This was about whether America still belongs to the people or if America belongs to the wolves now. And so thanks to Trump's leadership, the Marines on the ground, the patriots like John Kennedy speaking the truth to power, that pipeline, guys, is being shut down for good. So the next time somebody tells you that it's all just a coincidence, the next time someone tells you just ignore the bricks, ignore the fire, the funding, I want you to look them straight in the eye and say, we saw the wolves and we stopped them. Now, if you're tired of the lies and you're ready for more truth like this, guys, just hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with 3 other people who need to wake up. And let me know in the comments, guys, do you think Gavin Newsom should be held legally accountable for what he's done already? Because this fight is far from over. And the good news is, though, I think it just turned in our favor. We'll see you guys on the next one.